With the August 1st tariff deadline set to expire in 4 days now, South Korea is on a hustle to seal a deal with the Trump administration. A final round of tariff talks with the U.S. side will take place on Thursday, a day before the reciprocal duties take effect. Samsung Electronics will manufacture Tesla's next-generation AI6 chip at its semiconductor plant in Texas. The at least $16.5 billion chip supply deal pushed Samsung's shares to jump nearly 7% on Monday. North Korea says it has no interest in South Korea's North Korea policy in its first statement toward the Lee Jae-myung administration. Seoul says it remains committed to pursuing peace and inter-Korean cooperation. The clock is ticking as the Lee Jae-myung administration looks to clinch a deal with Washington to swerve the 25% reciprocal tariffs going into effect this Friday. Senior officials are making all-out efforts to engage their U.S. counterparts. Our Oh Seong has the latest.
Just before the August 1st deadline for Washington's reciprocal tariffs, pressure is mounting for South Korean officials as they aim to strike a trade deal with the United States. As of Monday, Seoul's Trade Minister Kim Jong-kwan has reportedly flown from the US to Europe in a last-ditch attempt to engage with Trump administration officials following the US-EU summit in Scotland. This comes ahead of the delayed 2+2 talks between South Korea and the US's trade and finance-related ministers. Citing a scheduling conflict, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer last Friday postponed the meeting to July 31st, 1 day before the 25% duties on Korean goods take effect. Finance Minister Koo Yoon-cho received a cancellation notice just 1 hour before he was due to take off to Washington, D.C. He will instead leave on Tuesday to meet with Bessent on Thursday local time. The US has been demanding greater access to the agricultural market, as well as digital and auto sectors. According to local media, Seoul is expected to leverage America's interest in Korean shipbuilding. Trade Minister Kim last week proposed a multi-billion-dollar Make American Shipbuilding Great Again plan, which was reportedly received with strong interest by US Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. There's also growing speculation that a bilateral investment fund modeled after Japan's $550 billion deal could be on the table. Seoul is reportedly reviewing plans to expand its proposed investment beyond the initial $100 billion, involving the country's largest conglomerates such as Samsung SK, Hyundai Motor, LG and Hana. Foreign Minister Cho Hyun is also set to meet U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio in parallel talks on Thursday in D.C. for what could be a final opportunity to reach a breakthrough. Oh Seong, Arirang News.
Against this backdrop, President Lee Jae-myung was briefed about the latest trade consultations with the U.S. and discussed response measures with his aides. That's according to his spokesperson Kang Yu-jung on Monday in a written statement, saying the president was briefed by Industry Minister Kim Jong-kwan and Trade Minister Yo Han-gu, who are currently overseas. Over the weekend, the trade ministers of South Korea and the U.S. held discussions twice in Washington and New York for discussions that included cooperation in shipbuilding. Present at the briefing were Finance Minister Koo Yoon-chul and Foreign Minister Cho Hyun, who are soon to leave for Washington for similar talks. Seoul's top office added that the government is looking for the most desirable plan, keeping in mind various possibilities. Samsung Electronics has clinched a landmark $16.5 billion deal to supply AI chips to Tesla, a move set to revitalize its struggling foundry division. Moon Ji-young tells us more.
Samsung Electronics will produce AI semiconductors for Tesla in a new agreement, which could prove to be a game changer for its currently underperforming foundry division. In a regulatory filing, the South Korean chip giant announced on Monday that it had secured a 22.8 trillion won or $16.5 billion chip-making agreement. The deal represents 7.6% of Samsung Electronics' total revenue of 300.9 trillion won in 2024, marking it as the largest chip order for a single client secured by the company. This long-term contract is set to run for more than 8 years through the end of December 2033. The tech giant initially did not disclose the identity of the client or the specifics of the deal, citing management confidentiality. Tesla CEO Elon Musk said in a social media post later in the day that Samsung would produce next-generation AI6 semiconductors for the company. The Korean firm currently produces AI4s, while Taiwan's TSMC manufactures AI5s. In a reply to a comment, Musk also suggested the deal could be much more than the amount Samsung had disclosed. Following the announcement, shares of Samsung Electronics surged 6.3% on intraday trading, going above 70,000 won for the first time since last September. Samsung has been steadily losing ground in certain manufacturing sectors, and so this record-breaking deal is expected to give a much-needed boost to its foundry division, which has long struggled to catch up with global industry leader TSMC. 문지영, 아리랑 뉴스.
Foreign Minister Cho Hyun is set to visit Japan tomorrow for a bilateral meeting with his Japanese counterpart Takeshi Iwaya. This marks Cho's first foreign trip since taking office last week. Their talks are expected to focus on strengthening cooperation across a range of areas to improve bilateral ties, as the two countries this year mark their 60th anniversary of normalizing diplomatic relations. Following his one-night stay in Japan, Cho will head to Washington, D.C. to meet with the U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio on Thursday local time. Prior to his confirmation hearing, Cho told reporters that it was time to move beyond the fixed notion that Seoul's diplomatic outreach must start with the U.S. North Korea issued its first official comments directed at the Lee Jae-myung administration on Monday, calling South Korea an enemy and rejecting talks. But Seoul says it's staying the course. Kim Jung-sil reports.
South Korea says it won't be swayed from its push for peace. Following North Korea's first official statement since the Lee Jae-myung administration took office, the presidential office said Monday it's taking the North's remarks seriously, but insists its focus remains on building peace through steady, necessary action. At the Unification Ministry, the message was much the same.
We believe the statement shows Pyongyang is closely watching our policy direction. While distrust from the North remains deep, our push for peace and inter-Korean cooperation will continue, calmly and with consistency.
Officials here say they won't be swayed by every comment from Pyongyang and that they'll be sticking to a steady, non-confrontational approach. But the tone from the North was very different. The statement came earlier in the day from Kim Yo-jong, the sister of North Korea's leader, Kim Jong-un. She dismissed Seoul's suspension of border loudspeaker broadcasts as not worthy of recognition and criticized other recent moves, including talk of resuming tourism and halting leaflet campaigns. She also rejected speculation that Kim Jong-un might be invited to the APEC meeting in the South, calling the idea a vain illusion. Kim accused the South of being trapped in the ghost of unification by absorption and said North Korea no longer sees the South as part of one people, but simply as another state.
Even before Seoul's new cabinet takes shape, North Korea is rejecting anything it sees as a threat to its interests. With no shift in the ROK-US alliance, the North sees little value in peace overtures.
Analysts say Pyongyang may be rejecting dialogue to sideline Seoul and entrench its two-state strategy, a move that runs directly against the South's push for reconciliation. Kim Jung-sil, Arirang News.
And South Korea's new unification minister says he'll propose an adjustment to upcoming joint military exercises with the U.S., calling it a move toward de-escalation. Speaking to reporters Monday, Jung Dong-young did not call for a suspension, but his remarks suggested possible adjustments to the exercise's scale and nature. Regarding Jung's idea, the presidential office notes that any decision would involve input from all key ministries, including defense. Jung also on Monday vowed to ease restrictions on civilian contact with the North Koreans, saying only a simple report will be required. South Korea's Navy and Marine Corps successfully took part in a multinational exercise jointly hosted by the U.S. and Australia. Our Kim Bo-kyung has the details.
South Korea's Navy and Marine Corps have successfully completed their part in a biennial multinational exercise in Australia that went on for around a month, starting early this July. Named Talisman Sabre, meaning sword with mysterious power, the exercise marks the largest bilateral military drill between Australia and the U.S. Aiming to hone operational capabilities, this year's edition united more than 35,000 military personnel from 19 like-minded countries. Korea's Navy first participated in 2021, and the Marine Corps joined in 2023. More than 800 personnel from the Navy and Marine Corps, along with around 10 types of equipment, including Korean amphibious assault vehicles, K-9 self-propelled howitzers, and multiple Chunmoo rocket systems, joined the exercise. With U.S. and Australian forces, Korean troops conducted joint live-fire training, with K-1 tanks joining the drill for the first time, and amphibious airborne assault drills using Korean and Australian assault assets also took place. The drill was seen as a chance to improve operational capabilities.
We've conducted combined joint operations with the Republic of Korea, conducting naval, maritime and land operations as part of ongoing integration training in order to ensure that we can work together in a safe environment and fight together if required.
Through tactical exchanges with various countries, such as Australia and the United States during this training, our unit's combat capabilities have advanced to a higher level. We will do our best to complete our mission with strong unity and ensure everyone returns safely.
The Navy and Marine Corps personnel who took part will depart Australia on Tuesday and arrive at a port in Jinhae of Gyeongsang-namdo Province in mid-August. Kim Bo-kyung, Arirang News.
It was another hot start to the week here in South Korea. The extreme heat wave reached a peak today, with the temperatures becoming slightly cooler as the week goes by. Our Park Kwon-woo has this report.
Splashing in deep water, people are wading away the heat. This large outdoor swimming pool near the Hangang River is packed, even during the hottest part of the day. With heat warnings issued nationwide, Seoul hit 37 degrees Celsius on Monday, while similar sweltering conditions are expected throughout the week.
It feels like I'm in a sauna standing out here, so instead of staying indoors, people are cooling off wherever they can, just like in this pool right behind me. In this kind of heat, even a small splash makes a big difference.
The weather is very hot, so I think it's a very good idea to come to the pool and swim a little bit. In Poland, we don't have that hot. Yeah, we are having a great experience.
Compared to last year, my skin feels burning because it's particularly hot this year, which also makes me worried for people working outside.
According to the Korea Disease Control and Prevention Agency, around 2,300 people have been treated for heat-related illnesses this year as of Saturday, including outdoor workers. That's 2.5 times more than the same period last year. Among them, 11 people have reportedly died. This surge is linked to the number of heat wave days doubling from last year. And the damage isn't limited to people. Roughly 2,000 farm fish and more than 1 million livestock deaths, a tenfold increase from 2024, have also been reported. Accordingly, the government convened a Central Disaster Response meeting on Monday, where the Interior Ministry said all available resources will be mobilized to minimize casualties. Authorities also pledged support for vulnerable groups here, including victims of the recent floods, from further damage. While the weather agency forecasts a slight drop in temperatures later this week, the authorities advise the public to stay indoors, remain hydrated, and rest frequently as the intense heat and tropical nights continue. Park Kwon-woo, Arirang News.
The Korea Intern Residents Association apologized on Monday to patient groups and the public for the suffering caused by its prolonged conflict with the government over medical reform. The association's emergency committee chair, Han Sung-jun, apologized to the people who must have been suffering and anxious due to the conflict that has been prolonged for more than a year and 5 months. Regarding a controversy over alleged privileges for returning medical students, the Education Ministry said on Monday that it's a time to decide on how to embrace the wounds of the students rather than talk about privileges. In other news, it's not vacation season without this festival here in the country. People from around the world gather in Poryang City to enjoy the summer in the mud. Our Park Hyo-bin takes us there.
Splashing, tumbling, and soaking up the fun. Despite the scorching heat, people are all smiles as they dive into the mud and leave the summer swelter behind. Daecheon Beach in Chungcheongnam-do Province is holding the 28th Poryang Mud Festival, which opened last Friday.
It is over 30 degrees here in Poryang, but the more mud, the cooler it gets. This is why people head here to beat the summer heat.
What began as a local event has now become one of the most beloved summer festivals in the world, attracting around 1.6 million visitors last year, many of them from abroad. The only goal here is to get dirty together.
Oh yeah, it's really fun.
It's a lot funner than we thought.
The mud dunk tank was really good because we got fully submerged in mud.
Yeah, just completely covered.
Hi, I'm from Migook. I am having a lot of fun here.
I'm from Canada. I'm having so much fun. I've never been to an event like this before. It's been so fun, yeah.
You can see it feels really good. I hope it's good for my skin. It doesn't feel sticky or dirty at all. It actually feels really nice.
But the now famous Poryang mud wasn't always celebrated. Back in the early 1990s, Daecheon Beach was seen as murky and uninviting until it was discovered that the mineral-rich mud was great for the skin. What was once worthless became a treasure, and by 1998, the Poryang Mud Festival was born. This year's event is bigger and bolder than ever. Visitors can dive into a mudslide, spin through the mud barbecue, or simply cover themselves in a mineral-rich sludge. There are special zones for families with young children. And by night, the energy ramps up with K-pop concerts and dazzling drone light displays. Festival organizers say safety is a top priority, especially with the record-breaking heat waves this summer.
The heat wave has been especially intense lately, so we've prepared safety measures to make sure visitors can stay comfortable while enjoying the festival.
Officials say more than 2 million people from around the world are expected to join the festival this year. To help visitors from overseas enjoy the fun, interpretation services are offered in English, Chinese, and Japanese. The ultimate summer playground, Poryang Mud Festival, runs until August 10th. Park Hyo-bin, Arirang News, Poryang.
It is time now to take a look at what's been happening in the world of sports. For that, we have our sports editor, Paul Neate, joining us in the studio. Welcome back, Paul.
Thank you very much.
So why don't we start with baseball? It seems like KBO sets new attendance records, and this year is no exception.
You know, you're right. KBO reached 2 milestones recently, and starting with Thursday last week, the KBO reached 8 million fans in the fewest games, 465. The previous record was 549 set last year. Last year, the league went on to reach 10.88 million, meaning it is on course to reach around 12 million fans this year. According to Yonhap, average attendances across the 10 teams are up around 17% from this time last year. Then, on Saturday, it was confirmed that KBO had set a single-season record for the number of sell-out matches with 224. Last year, KBO reached 221 over the full 720-game season. But this year, the record was broken after just 470 games. Hanwha Eagles have recorded the most with around 40.
So many baseball fans. Well, sticking with the baseball, how have some of South Korea's MLB stars been doing?
Mixed fortunes, certainly for Lee Jong-hoo and Kim Ha-sung.
Right.
Lee went 3 for 4 with an RBI in the Giants' 2-1 loss to the New York Mets on Saturday. It was his 7th 3-hit effort this season and is his 3rd in July alone. His first hit was a single at the top of the 2nd inning. He collected an RBI with a bases-loaded groundout in the 4th, which ended up being his team's only run. He then hit a double off the right centre field wall with 1 out in the last inning. His batting average went up to .254. Meanwhile, Kim Ha-sung of the Tampa Bay Rays has been put on the injured list with a lower back strain. Kim joined the Rays this winter after a 4-season spell with the Padres, but his time in Florida has been disrupted by injury.
To swimming now, Paul. A bronze medal for South Korea at the World Championships.
Yes, that's right. Kim Woo-min earned the bronze medal in the men's 400-metre freestyle. In Singapore on Sunday, Kim finished with a time of 3 minutes 42.6 seconds, just 0.25 of a second behind the winner, Lucas Martins of Germany. Kim actually had the fastest split over the final 50 metres at 27.62 seconds. It was his 2nd straight podium finish in the event. He also joins Park Tae-hwan as the only South Koreans to win multiple World Championship medals in the 400-metre freestyle.
Paul, before I let you go to football now, I understand some big European clubs will be in South Korea this week. Tell us more.
Yes, we have some summer friendly matches taking place in Korea. First up is Team K-League taking on English Premier League side Newcastle United in the first game of the Kupang Play Series. The match will take place at Suwon World Cup Stadium on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Newcastle will also face Tottenham Hotspur at Seoul World Cup Stadium on Sunday at the same time. There could be a derby of Korean players of sorts, with Park Sung-soo having just signed for Newcastle from Suwon Blue Wings, and Yang Min-hyuk and Son Heung-min parts of the Spurs squad. Then on Thursday, La Liga champions FC Barcelona will take on an in-form FC Seoul. Then on Monday next week, Barca will face Daegu FC, but Daegu sit bottom of K-League 1, 11 points behind 11th.
Luckily, temperatures will go slightly down towards the weekend. Thank you for coming in today, Paul.
Thank you.
After the hottest day of this year in Seoul yesterday with 38 degrees Celsius in the middle of the day, the scorching heat has been continuing today with heat wave warnings all over the country. Daytime temperatures in Seoul, Jeonju and Cheongju rose to 37 degrees. It will reach 37 degrees in Seoul again tomorrow, and this scorching heat will last until the second half of the week. In addition, tropical nights have been continuing for days in Seoul, and this night heat will continue to severe. Please take care not to get any heat-related illnesses. Tomorrow morning will start very warm in Seoul at 27 degrees, Chuncheon 24 degrees. Daily highs will go up to 36 degrees in Chuncheon, Daejeon, and Daegu, 35 degrees in Gwangju and Gyeongju. No more rain is forecast for the time being, but summer heat will continue instead. That's all for Korea. Here are the weather conditions around the world.
That's all we have for tonight. I'm Kim Da-mi. For all of us here at Arirang, thanks for watching and good night.